Women of Reddit, what are some obvious hints that you made to guys you were into that flew right over their heads? I think the problem is a lot of guys are keyed to not pick up on things that could be hints because they don't want to come off as creepy and just in it to bang you. Totally understandable and definitely something to be considered. When I'm into someone, everything comes across as a hint when it's 100% not one. It's much safer just to ignore until I have it in writing, signed and sealed in blood. Can I take a nap on your bed again? I'm going to take off my pants because I can't sleep with them on. Do you want to take a nap too? She could want 6, but she's probably just tired. Better give her a high five to be safe. Do you mean a high fiver? High fiver? I hardly know her. Sent a guy friend a picture of me in just a tank top, pulling the lower part of it down to cover my lady bits. Honestly a really sexy picture I thought. Also let him know I was bored and lonely. Nothing came from it. He told me a couple weeks later that he had a huge crush on me, but I had moved out of town. Still wearing clothes. Too subtle. I really considered sending him a full-on nude. I thought I was being sexy wearing the tank top. It was his own tank top too. I guess it's hard trying to hint that you want more, but don't want to do anything too embarrassing in case you get rejected. There's a big difference from sending a guy a sexy photo compared to a nude one. First thought he had, damn, she's stretching out my shirt. She invited me to her flat to hang out. So we hung out. After about an hour she said do you want to leave? I said no, why? She said because I brought you back here so we could fuck and you've been trying to make small talk for the last hour. Oh. And that's the story of how I lost my virginity at 21 years old. Well, at least she was honest and that worked out for you. Yeah bro, boobs are great. Amen. Brother. Guy here. I was walking a friend home one evening and I mentioned to her that I'm quite oblivious about when a girl likes me. I said a girl could smack me on the head and I wouldn't realize she was into me. She then smacked me on the back of my head and I responded with "Ow, what the hell was that for?" I would say she was the one who did not get the hint. You did warn her after all. I had a girl keep sending my topless pics while she was home alone, but she was pointing out how long her hair was. I was like, yeah, your hair is pretty long lol. I woke up around 2 in the morning kicking myself for not getting the very obvious hints. A other time with a complete different girl on our first date we were watching Ant-Man. I remember joking around saying I could do that about dumb things making her laugh. Well when the kissing scene came she asked, can you do that, while close to my face. I was like man I don't know, I might have to practice and then watch the movie. When I dropped her off and was driving home and had to slap myself. Bruh, this one hurts to read. Bruh sound effect #2. You even had the perfect response AHHHH. Right? Imagine being the girl in that situation. Can you do that the kiss? I don't know, I might need to practice. Internally thinking damn, that's a great line. He's about to kiss me. Asterisk, 5 seconds pass. Wait, what the fuck is this idiot doing? Internally thinking damn, why is she just staring at me like I'm stupid? This thread has taught me that I need flashing neon signs around my naked body if I want my boyfriend to get the message. Edit. Jesus Christ people it's a joke stop blowing up my inbox. Edit 2. I have now received so many comments that I can no longer read the comments on my mobile. Really? Sounds a little subtle. I think you may also have to rent a billboard. I'd throw in a town crier as well. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Hear ye, hear ye. Let it be known that Jessica is down to smash. That could be any Jessica. Posting for my wife, as she's not a redditor. When we first met, I was still a smoker. She brought in cigarettes the next day. She's never smoked, to give herself an excuse to be around me. She wore the lowest cut top I've ever seen, and when we were alone together she'd often say she really needed a massage. I went back to hers one evening to help her with her studies, and despite her changing to her underwear part way through that's exactly what I did. It took me 2 weeks of this to finally click on. And man, our dents. I had a girl I was super into in college ask me over to her place because she wanted someone to look over a paper she'd written and give her notes. She also texted me that she was no longer in a relationship, her roommate was out of town, and she was looking forward to spending time with me that night. I go over to her place at like 10 at night, and she's wearing a sports bra and short shorts. She asks me in, and asks if I want a drink, and I say sure. I ask to see the paper, and she's like oh yeah, and prints off like a 2-page essay for a core class. I critiqued the shit out of that paper, it really was pretty bad, and left. I didn't realize it for like a year. I critiqued the shit out of that paper, it really was pretty bad, and left. Well, at least you got one job done. Maybe they didn't have sex, but he mentally fucked her lol. Before my now wife and I started dating, she messaged me I want you. My response? Good to know. Lucky that it ended up working out. Very lucky. What the fuck LMRO? I'm nothing if not socially inept. If it makes you feel better, when I was 18 I worked with a girl who, on reflection, was definitely into me. When she introduced herself, gave me her name, and because I'm awful at remembering names said flatly I'm not going to remember that like an asshole. She did give me a reason to remember though. Thank God she dropped some serious hints the next time we saw each other. Met a nice, interesting, funny boy at a bar, still living at home, relevant, and we talked for a good hour or two. He walked me to the train station, and it turns out I'd just missed the last train home. I said gee, too bad you live with your parents, I could totally crash at your place. He said it's fine, and we headed back. He made me up the spare bed at the other end of the house and said goodnight. After a while I texted him saying I couldn't sleep. Did he want company? So we hung out in his room. He invited me into his bed. Since I looked uncomfortable sitting next to it, we spent the night together in a single bed without a single thing happening. I'd only ever been with one guy, so I just figured I had no mojo. Turns out he was trying to be respectful, since he really liked me, and we ended up dating for 5 years. As a guy, that's the most confusing part of dating / hooking up / etc. Like, this hint is obvious, but what if I'm misinterpreting things and she thinks I'm a creep? Better just play it safe and not do anything. Just like how everyone avoids answering the professor's question, even though the answer is super obvious. What if I'm wrong and looked like a retard? Met a nice, interesting, funny boy at a bar, still living at home, relevant, and we talked for a good hour or two. He walked me to the train station, and it turns out I'd just missed the last train home. I said gee, too bad you live with your parents, I could totally crash at your place. He said it's fine, and we headed back. He made me up the spare bed at the other end of the house and said goodnight. After a while I texted him saying I couldn't sleep. Did he want company? So we hung out in his room. He invited me into his bed. Since I looked uncomfortable sitting next to it, we spent the night together in a single bed without a single thing happening. I'd only ever been with one guy, so I just figured I had no mojo. Turns out he was trying to be respectful, since he really liked me, and we ended up dating for 5 years. As a guy, that's the most confusing part of dating / hooking up / etc. Like, this hint is obvious, but what if I'm misinterpreting things and she thinks I'm a creep? Better just play it safe and not do anything. Just like how everyone avoids answering the professor's question, even though the answer is super obvious. What if I'm wrong and looked like a retard? Before I started dating my husband, I went swimming at his apartment and asked to take a shower so I could rinse the chlorine out of my hair. Freshly dyed red, wanted to keep it nice. I asked him to untie my bikini top BC, I couldn't reach it and he did. I let it fall and turned around to face him topless, and he had left me alone and shut the door behind him. He was a decent guy, I give him props for that. Did he pick up on the hints after you married him? My hints have turned to just showing up naked or sending him you ready for sexy time or something along those lines. So yes, IDK still seems pretty vague to me. Edit. Wow. Thank you for the gold. And also to those sending me PMs. I'm only one away from my 1 month average. You guys are great. Maybe she's Canadian and just being polite. Wouldn't want to pressure her. Best to just say no. You can't tell. Best way, you keep your wits about you and continue to look for signs. If you can tell, you are probably wrong. Best you keep your wits about you and continue to look for signs. I was flirting with this guy all night. He seemed into me, but didn't pick up on my flirting. by the end of the night I just asked bluntly, do you want to have sex? He said yes. Edit. My time to shine on r/award speech edits. Thank you kind stranger for the gold. This is the coolest thing to happen to me, but I can't tell all my friends because they don't have Reddit. On behalf of all dudes who are really bad at this whole flirting thing, thanks. Yeah, we definitely found the hero of this thread. I feel honored.